before let me just phrase this. I watched the game this afternoon, Manchester United beating Brentford. In 5 minutes, the headlines were rewritten 3 times. With a few minutes to go, Erik Ten Hag is about to lose his third Premier League game in a row, fourth home game in a row, and you're starting to fear for his future. At 1-1, you're thinking it's not really good enough, but it's not a loss. And then Scott McTominay nods it home, gives him a win. It's chaotic. It's chaotic at the end of the game. The team on the pitch is chaotic. How much can Man United fans take from that result? 3 points, yes, but look at the players who are off the pitch. These are the players, the Rashfords, the Mounts, the Casemiros. They're meant to be the players that are part of this season for Manchester United. And it's people like Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay and Anthony Martial and Anthony and Garnacho that are inspiring Manchester United to a win. It'd be very interesting to see what his lineup is next game. But let's go to the callers. We've got Mark, who is a Manchester United fan, and it says Ten Hag is the man. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, mate. How are you? You okay?
I'm over the moon. As I said, it was a traumatic, dramatic, and fantastic last few minutes of that game where every headline was written.
Yeah, I was at the game today, and before the last 6 minutes, the crowd were turning on Ten Hag, ever so slightly, just murmurs about Ten Hag. And I just rang really just to say, I think it's going to be kind of a 3-4 year process. If you look at the players that Ten Hag is bringing in, they're all fighters. They're all really combative, like your Mounts, your Højlunds, your Amrabats, kind of. And even last season with your Martinez's and people like that, they want to fight. And I think the more he can bring in that character of player and start getting rid of some of the other characters from previous years who don't have that attitude, I think we're just going to get better and better and better.
Yeah, I tell you, it was interesting at the end, wasn't it? And I take on board what you had to say about, the murmurings, because I mean, look, there's been a lot mentioned about Marcus Rashford. He came off after 60 minutes. Garnacho made something happen again. What are your thoughts, Mark, on what comes next? I know there's an international break, but in relation to the team lineup, he's got some big decisions to make. I mean, Casemiro was taken off at halftime. Mount cost a lot of money. Onana cost a lot of money. Rashford's his star player. He's just given him a big contract. None of those players actually contributed to what was an amazing result today.
No, to be honest, I don't know. Like with Rashford, he can turn up, he can do nothing for 80 minutes, then turn up with a bit of magic. But when you've got Garnacho, who I hear you say it a lot, whenever Garnacho's on the pitch, things happen. Like the crowd raises and the atmosphere changes, and it's just that little bit of magic in the air that Rashford used to have. Second half, though, to be fair, Rashford did get a little bit more direct. He started taking players on a little bit more. But when I was in the South Stand today, and when he was on our side, his body language was just awful, like shoulders slumped, head down. And Ten Hag was giving him instructions at one point, and I'll be honest, he didn't really look too interested in what he was saying. There was no eye contact. But then Mount came over for instructions, and he's like eye contact, he's nodding at him, he's taking it on board. And it just like really highlighted the difference in attitude for me. And I don't know if things going on behind the scenes, but it stood out massively when it's right in front of you.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in, Mark. Fantastic call. For me, I think Garnacho has to start the next game. His ceiling is so high, teenager. Or as Mark was saying there, things happen when Garnacho's on the pitch. And I think that at the moment, there is an issue with Marcus Rashford. He's a fantastic player. He's an important player. But I don't think Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp or even Ange at Spurs are just going to keep picking a player out of form when there's somebody else who come in and do a job. And maybe a bit of time out for Marcus Rashford might be what he needs. Some people do.